Welcome. This is Money Heart, where we explore the emotional side of money. I'm Camille Diaz, and today we're discussing how to stop sabotaging success. My guest is Michelle J. Howe. She is the founder and president of Empath Evolution. Michelle is a spiritual teacher and healer who channels high vibrational healing energies. She helps her clients move beyond intense emotions, subconscious fears, and people drama that interferes with their level of success in the world. Michelle, welcome to Money Heart.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. And I'm really interested in this topic of how our subconscious beliefs sabotage our success. I feel like that happens all the time. And of course, like you said, it's subconscious. So you don't know what's happening. Tell us more about what's going on here.
Subconscious versus conscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
On a conscious level, we all want like whatever we think is valuable. We want to feel good, right? We want, Some people say it's cars, jobs, marriage, love. Like we're all out there like paving our path, doing our thing. And the goal is to feel good about life, to feel good about ourselves. And what do we need to feel good? What do we need? All right. So we have essential needs, and we start going down the road trying to do all those things that we think are going to meet our needs.
Right.
Oh, something is in my way. Why is that in my way? Why is that like, there's all these things that start getting in the way of what we want. We see like this big shiny object over here. I just want that, right? But why am I not getting that? Why is that not working out for me? Why is it working out for other people? I don't understand what's like, it's almost like there's a lack of awareness of what it takes, like what is really important, what it takes to get what you really want. What do you really want? Do you think that having this beautiful house is going to make you happy at the end of the day? Or are you going to complain that it takes too long to clean it, or the mortgage is too high? So success is a very interesting topic. I kind of break it up into two: inner success, outer success.
Ooh, okay, I love that idea. Explain what those means. I feel like I get it, but I want you to tell us.
Mm-hmm. So we're all chasing the things that we want, which is outer success, because that's really front and center to a lot of us as validation. We're successful when we have 2.5 children, a house, a marriage, the cars, all of this scripted thing of what it takes to be successful, which is society is telling us. And we certainly want to be seen by others as successful. But the trick is that what you see on the outside is not always true about what's going on inside. And success is a feeling. You could be dirt poor, and you could be, I haven't committed to a career, I haven't created anything big. But when you look at them, their life is filled with people that love them. They're excited to get up out of bed. They're going jogging. They don't have a worry in the world. They've scripted their life in a way that allows them to feel good without buying into what society says is quote unquote success. They have molded success around what they really want, what really feels good to them, not what someone told them they need. And the clincher here is that they made this based on what they want in here. So everything is in alignment. They're like feeding themselves every day. They're not doing something they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. They're doing things they really want to do, and they're enjoying it. So once you have that, if you sculpt your life with a priority for inner success and feeling good, the outer success will come from that. Mm-hmm. But if you chase the outer success formula and you ignore what makes you feel good, you just plow through things to make that outer success look amazing. And inside you're dying, anxiety, overwhelm, depression, you get hit by, in life, we're getting hit every day with changes, traumatic happenings, things that break our hearts. It's like we're in the middle of a drama. Life is like being in the middle of a drama. Yeah. So in order to weather the drama, you have to be really happy inside, successful inside, almost like it's a fortitude, it's a strength, but it's the priority on you and feeling good. Like, feeling good cannot be underrated. It will move you forward. So if you do things that don't feel good, you will not feel successful, because no matter what you do, you can't override the feeling that you have inside of you. So it's like, what happens first, the chicken or the egg? Do I create out, I've seen so many different people who are entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur, always have been, very creative. And I've done it myself, chasing success, chasing. I need to do this, I need to do that. And then that'll come. And you see all these programs that are, coaching people through things. And certainly we need the details, right? We need the framework. But those subconscious beliefs, that feeling good about who you are, the rules that we come up with, the things that we think, our thoughts become things. They can become roadblocks. I can't do that. It's just a thought, right? Mm-hmm. Guess what? You cannot do that.
If that's what you're thinking, it's true.
You cannot do that. So it's looking at, and it's not really anybody's fault. It's not really your fault. It's what you observed from the outside. It's what people told you. It's what people expected of you that made you a prisoner to doing things this way when that makes you unhappy.
Yeah.
So I've always been a deep person. I love this topic because I've always looked at people. Why do they do what they're doing? Who are they really? What are they showing me? What do they feel like to me? Mm-hmm. Oh, there's something more going on in the background. So it's like, it's sort of my pastime, was for a long time, just kind of, and I would look at people, and I was moody growing up, and I would struggle at certain points with overwhelm. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I, because am I supposed to be emotional? Holy Jesus, what do I do with emotions that, sweep me off my center? Mm-hmm. And then you feel vulnerable or whatnot. And life is going to bring these experiences to you, whether you want them or you don't want them.
Yes.
And you could be doing everything, quote unquote, perfect, right? All the perfect things that you've been told to do.
Yeah.
But why are you feeling down? What is it about your life or your waking up in the morning that has a challenge to you? I used to wake up a long time ago. I didn't know anything about the things I know now. And I always thought I had everything kind of figured out because I was pretty intuitive. Mm-hmm. And I woke up anxiety. Anxiety. I'm like, where is this coming from? I have nothing to be anxious. Like, I couldn't think of one thing that would make me anxious, but I would wake up with anxiety. Mm-hmm. So, that's not a good place to be, especially when you think, you're a parent now. I'm like, or, going through different experiences in my life.
Yeah.
Where, like, I didn't have the wherewithal. I was always deep, but I didn't have the wherewithal to understand why certain things were happening. And I was sort of, because we create our reality based on whether we recognize it or not, based on what we need to learn. And we don't want to be bored. Who wants to be bored? Nobody wants to be bored, right? If you're bored and you're not growing, you're stagnant and you're dying. Mm-hmm. So if you're growing, you're going to run into some challenge that you don't know how to figure out yet. And it's going to, the reason why you're stuck there is because there's like a push and pull within you. Do I go there or do I not go there? Can I do it or can I not do it? Like, and I just think it's a beautiful thing, because being an entrepreneur is a journey in and of itself.
Yep.
You will accomplish as much as you let yourself accomplish and you step into the vision of. Yeah. It may not happen next week or next month. It may happen 5 years from now. It all depends on where you're at and what it takes to really, because everything looks like it's easy to do. All right.
Right. Yeah, because we always see the person who's already successful and has already figured out that challenge. They've already figured out how to do it. So that's all we're looking at.
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Right. But
it takes, I've observed this with me, different careers that I've had. I was in business for a long time as a CPA, business strategy. Now I do teaching, personal development, really healing, really empowering people. You just never know. I kind of lost track of where I was going with that, but you don't know what's really next on the plate with you. None of us do. We could be hit with something very traumatic tomorrow. And we need to be able to not be so attached to who we are, because we're in the middle of always changing. We are never going to be the same from day to day to day to day. Every situation, every person you meet, you're becoming the next version of yourself.
Right. Yeah. I love
so
that.
It's beautiful.
It is. It really is. And, so I sometimes describe this as your like best future self is the one you're aiming for. And then as new things happen, they're getting you on that path. So yeah. And I love how you pointed out that you get the things that you need to get to the next level, because sometimes we get stuff and we're not so thrilled about having it. But that usually means that's the one you need right now. So just rock on.
Well, it's interesting because that's not part of your plan. Why did that happen? How did that happen? Well, guess what? There was some purpose to it. And the thing is, with subconscious beliefs and things that keep us stuck, if we don't really get what something is, or at least see a little bit deeper how we could tweak what we're doing, or what didn't work right. Sometimes it's timing. Sometimes you just didn't know this other little piece of information.
Yep.
You're constantly assimilating and gathering, and the more information you get, the more prepared you are. And what looks like a simple, easy thing to do. Okay. So we're talking about Joe Rogan doing his podcast, right? How amazing people watch this for 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
He does this every single day. There are a lot of people behind the scenes putting together all the information that he needs to do what he does, and he does it seamlessly. But if everybody could do what he does, we would. So we have to just find our way slowly but surely. And it becomes easier as you do something more. Like when you first encounter something you haven't seen, you're like, I can't do that.
Well, deer in the headlights. Oh, okay.
I'm overwhelmed. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And part of this is like the learning process, because when you don't know something, you're only going to know it when you do it again.
Right.
And then when you do it again, and it's going to be really kind of a struggle until you get into such a rhythm that you're like, oh, this isn't a bad thing. This is all right. This is easy to do. Oh, what's the next thing that we're doing? So then you start the cycle all over again. Yeah. So it's always interesting.
It is. I love the way you say that, because there have been things that have come up for me in the past that I've had to do, and it was hard. And then I had to do it again, and it was hard. And I'm like, why do I keep having to do this? The answer is we didn't learn it yet. So you got to do it again until you learn whatever lesson you're meant to learn from this. And so then eventually once oh yeah, okay, got it. It's like once I realize that this keeps showing up because I missed the learning the first time, then I'm a little bit faster on the second go, or the third, or 12th.
Well, you're a little bit more observant to what things are. I mean, when I look at things that I created and developed when I was first in business, I'm like, oh my God, that is so bad. And I'm like, but that was where I was at. That's the only thing I really, that was where I was.
Right. I do that too. I will find something that's old. And what's really interesting is, so I've been putting together a redo of an online course that I did 5 or 6 years ago. And when I go look at the stuff that's in there, I go, wow, that's really good. That's really, ooh, what was I doing there? Oh, that's really good. Oh, what was that? Like, so it's like a mix of genius and terribleness. And so I pull all the genius out and then put it with new things that I'm sure, 5 or 10 years from now, I'll look at it again and go, oh, honey, what were you doing right there? Let's fix that. But it's better than it was. And so it's cool. You even when you look back at your old self, you find stuff that you did that you go, ooh, that was rough around the edges and needed some help. But there's still almost always something good that you go, oh, I was really onto something with that one, or I was on the right track, or it was teaching me what I needed for the next step.
They say there is a saying out there that you teach what you need to learn. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
I find that in the process of teaching, I've been doing this for a while now, I really cement a lot of information down, and I discover new things in the process, not just of preparing, but when I speak to things. It's like I make these connections in the process of talking, and I'm like, I got to write that one down. I didn't even think of that. Like it just kind of comes over you. And really, we are in a world of thoughts. When you look at this metaphysically, we are all connected. So that genius, and it does take time. I will say this, you can learn something. Someone can tell you something, right? Do this, right? All right. You'll do it for a day. You'll do it for 2 days. Yeah, no. Like it, and you don't even really understand the why behind it. You may not even see the full picture of why it's so important. Like people can tell you things, but you don't really get it until you really get it. Like, and it's being human is very interesting. I just
always. I want to go back to something that you said earlier, and you were talking about your script and the concept of the script that's been written for you versus the script you write yourself. Can we chat about that a little bit more, and maybe give us some tips on how we can identify when we're working off someone else's script versus when we're working on our own? Because I think sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. Like you think you're doing the thing that you want, but it turns out to not actually be the thing that you wanted. And maybe it takes a long time before we figure out, ooh, that wasn't me. I got that pre-programmed from, outside. Yeah.
It's a little bit, I made you think about that.
Okay. I just thought it was the coolest way that you phrased it of, the inside versus outside success, and then that who's writing the script. So how do I know
who's behind the car? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah, who programmed my GPS? I'm driving, but who programmed that thing?
Well,
they program it where I want to go, or they program it where they wanted me to end up.
I don't think any of us wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to do this because my mother told me I couldn't do this,
right? Or
because I need to prove myself to somebody that I'm worthy enough for that. Why do we do the things we do, right? What do we really want? Those are good questions. And to get the answer that, for me, it's always about, it needs to feel right. And when it feels right, I feel expansive and there's no fear with it. I just know it's a huge knowing. When something is something I need to do, it's like a non-decision. I'm just going to do it. It's not, I don't have to think about it. I'm just going to do it. And has that always panned out right for me? I'm going to answer that yes. It's a yes and it's a no. I've done things before based on, I would say that's instinct, that it was right for me to do. It was a non-decision. And it's turned into a huge learning. It turned into a huge learning lesson that I think on some level I scripted myself because I learned a lot from it. So not everything that we are drawn to do is because it's going to make us exuberantly happy every day. It's there to move us through a process that when we come out the other side, we're coming out with a lot more knowledge and a lot more wisdom than we went in the door.
Yeah.
So, and now the way I look at my yeses and my nos is very interesting. I've, quite intuitive, taken a lot of classes on it, a healer, right? All these things about how to trust yourself. And it really comes down to the heart and a feeling. Like, logic is great. Don't get me wrong. Logic is good. There's a place for logic. But if you're not having fun doing something and enjoying it, you're slowly degrading your life, basically. Yeah. So you've got to start to recognize, what is the right decision for me to take? What am I learning from these decisions? Where am I going? It's almost like that. Some people may have this come easy to them. It's the potential to look at life and look at situations and see where you can go. Have a vision for where you can go. And then it pulls you to it. It's like you just feel so drawn to it.
Yes.
It's not work. It's just, well, this is where I'm going. Everything is pointing me in that direction. And it's not like I have to force myself to make a decision on it. I just know I get different opportunities. I look at how I react. I take the time to see how I'm reacting to this person or this opportunity. And it's either a yes or a no, based on how I feel. Now, sometimes if you're a little like me, which means that I was very goal oriented, right? I've got all these different things and this makes sense. We're going to do it this way.
Yep.
You can shut down your intuition because your head and believe just your mind telling you it's the next logical thing to do. But is it the next logical thing for you to do? And I have at times totally, I think they're learning experiences. Maybe that's just how I like to process it. But what happens is if I get close enough to doing something that's not meant for me to do, I will get all sorts of nervous and all sorts of, it's not even fear. I cannot physically do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why can't I go do that thing I said I have all the reasons in the world to go do? Is it fear? Or is this not for me?
Yeah.
So that's a really hard answer to tell somebody how they're going to feel. You have to kind of experiment to see how that works with you.
Right. So for me, when I get stuck like that, it's usually because I don't have a clear plan. Like if I'm not clear on either what I'm doing, why I'm there, what result I want, some piece is missing, then I'm stuck and I don't want to go forward because I get the same feeling as you. I'm all nervous and weird about it and it's freaking me out. And that only happens if I don't have a clear idea of what I'm doing or where I'm going or what the point is. If I know, even if I don't know the situation, I don't know what's going to happen, I don't know what to expect, but I know it's the right place for me to be. I know this will help me move forward. I know I'm here because I want a challenge. I'm going to grow. Okay, great. I don't have to have all the information and details, but I have to understand what the point is.
So you're saying that you're okay with uncertainty, but you need to know that there's some specific reason. It's a knowing. So trusting and knowing without sometimes knowing what specific reason, but you might need to at least have an answer on that, even if it's somewhat vague.
Yep.
This serves me in some way in growing my business. I'm not exactly sure how yet, but I'm open to what that is, but it's serving my business. Like just giving you, so if you have a major decision to make, Camille,
yes,
it's a big decision to make.
Sure.
How do you know that it's the right decision for you?
I never know. In a way, I never know, because every decision is going to have an outcome. And I might think that I've made the best possible decision at the time, which I always do. You know, you always make the best possible decision with the time and at the time with the information that you have for the situation that you can perceive. But you don't really ever know until you get to the other side. Man, that was a good decision. Like there's no way to know going in. So it's really being comfortable with, I understand my goal. I understand my objective here. I understand the plan. I understand what potential risks or disasters might happen, and I'm good with all of it. And
so what you do is you take a measure of cost benefit.
I do. Yeah.
It's a logical approach to what this is. So you don't get invested emotionally in
that's not true. I totally get invested emotionally.
Do you?
I do. So I am very logical and I do the logic thing first, but I still do the emotional as well. And sometimes I manage to do it where I've mostly logicked and I'm like, yeah, okay, this makes sense. This is right. And other times I've done total emotion and then attempted to logic on the back end my poor decision. Because usually if I'm logicking on the back end an emotional thing, it's because I know it's not right and I'm trying to convince myself that it is. And so, and typically it's where you mentioned about having an outside script. Someone else has said, this is a good idea. This is a good plan. This will be amazing for you. You're going to love this. You should totally do it. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And so then I start trying to, I'm emotionally drawn to their excitement for it. So I start trying to logic on the back end, my, reasoning for doing the thing that's not the thing that I wanted.
I would say that in order to really write your own script in life, you really need to be looking at yourself more than looking at the outside world and what other people want and expect from you. I mean, if I was listening to what other people want and expect from me, I got a lot of, you're such a wonderful accountant. You really should be a CPA again. Like, this is what people saw me at. They were very upset when I moved away from it. But my decision to move towards this was more what I would consider a knowing. Nope, not doing that. Nope. I married an accountant. Well, too bad. I'm not that anymore. I'm like, this is where I am. And I'm comfortable with what this means. And so there's a certain inner strength, which I call, it's our spirit, knows where we're going and what we're doing. And when you tap into that knowing, you kind of, I don't want to say you do it blind, but you're not necessarily putting logic to paper. You're just doing what you know is next for you.
Yes. And in a way, it's a wonderful thing when you can do that, because you really become unstoppable. You have that full, complete, this is what's the right thing for me. This is where I'm going. And not necessarily a step-by-step logicked out puzzle, just this is where I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure it out somehow along the way. And then that's me, that's right for me, and go. And nobody can get in your way or derail you because it's internal. You're on it. They can't throw you off the track because you are like glued to that thing. And then you just figure out, the best way for you to get there. But yeah. So I love that. And I love that writing your own script. I've definitely done this both ways. I've definitely been sucked into things that someone else said would be great for me. And you are so right. I love that you brought this up. When you switch to the thing that is your internal script and your internal success story, away from the thing that other people saw you as or that you were previously, they do not like it. There's a whole lot of complaining and, hey, you were so good at such and such, you should go back to it. I don't know what's up with that, but people really don't like it when you change to follow your thing, and they didn't imagine that for you. They didn't see it, and they're just like, how come you're not doing such and such anymore?
I don't know. I think some people, first of all, they look at it as if they're not into what you're doing, if they don't really understand what you're doing, if they're not free creative thinkers who are entrepreneurial, they look at what you're doing almost as irresponsible, foo-foo in the sky. Like it's just not a real thing for them. But that's okay. I mean, that's them.
Right.
If I was doing their job, oh my dear Lord in heaven. Like, so we all come here with a certain potential of, and people that are entrepreneurs are very fiery people. We want to move mountains. We want and I think that's an amazing place to be. The hardest part for an entrepreneur is to take it a little slower.
Yeah, we want to push the whole mountain right now today, and you really have to do it one rock at a time, and there's no other way to do it, but we would really love to just move it all right now.
I know the strengths and the struggles that we go through. I've lived them. So it's like, you know what? That's why it's like entrepreneurship. You are really digging down to remove lots of fears, conscious and subconscious, lots of patterns that sabotage you. What does that mean, they sabotage you? Well, if you're too afraid to do things, you're not going to do them. Or if you think that, all right, so in the world of energy and attraction and whatnot, if you think that if you start stereotyping and judging people based on your experience and your thoughts, and those are not good thoughts, you're going down the wrong road, because not everybody is the same. There are rich people that are greedy. There are rich people that are generous. There are rich people that are rich people that are happy, and rich people that are sad. So it's not like we're multicolored people, and we all have different things that we're here to learn and do. And how can I do, so it's shadow work. How can you be your best self if you think those people are, if you have like a negative in you, you won't even attract the positive coming to you. So it's like people are attracted to you based on who you are.
Yes. Yeah, they are. Yeah. And it's weird how people can tell.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it strange? Because even if we don't consciously know that we're perceiving that about others, we can tell. You get that creeper vibe, or the like, I don't know if I want to talk to them, or you get that with certain people because you're perceiving them, even if it's a part they don't want you to know and they're trying to hide it. It doesn't hide. It's always there.
Well, and we perceive a lot more than we're consciously aware of. Sometimes we project negative onto people. So there's like two flip sides of this. There is, you're reading the person, and you know what, my reality and your reality, your thoughts and my thoughts, your heart, my heart, are in very different places. But sometimes we project negative on someone without even really knowing them, just based on our own, I've lived some of this, our own biases for or against something that is a part of us. So if we reject, if someone told us as we were growing up, this actually happened to me, you're way too strong. You need to stop that. You are way too, nobody wants anyone who is outspoken. You need to reel it back in. You're too much like that. To be a good mother, you need to be this way or that way. She just didn't see, my mom was always more subservient as we were growing up, and my outspokenness scared the shit out of her. Scared her.
I'll find the bleep button.
please do. I don't ever really, but here I said it. It scared her. So there were parts of me that were always very strong, which I pushed down
Mm.
because she found fault with it. People found fault with it.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if I would even argue on certain points,
Mm-hmm.
and they found fault with that. You're not, so it doesn't teach a child that, and they didn't do it on purpose. This is just how she was raised.
Sure.
And how I took it. And I wanted to be loved. Some people would be like, I don't care. I'm just going to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I get really good grades. I'm going to be a really good girl, and I'm going to make them really proud of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you have that example of what you don't, and it's taken me a while. And even me looking at my daughter, I'm like, listen, stop hiding who you are.
Yeah.
It makes you who you are. You
Right.
have nothing to be ashamed of. And it's almost like hiding parts of yourself and like rejecting parts of yourself. And a lot of times the healing work that I do, we miss those parts. Like, it really reduces the amount of love that we can have and who we can become, because we see them in a negative light.
Yeah.
So there's this inner fight that sometimes happens between the male, the very strong sides of us, and the very sensitive and more emotional sides of us.
Mm-hmm.
So unless people say head and heart. Yeah, you can put it that way too. Integrating all aspects of who we are and understanding and seeing value in what this is, not like, oh no, we're just going to ram through this. This is what we want. And then you get to the other side of the fence and you're like, I'm just totally miserable doing this. There was a part of me that hated doing this every single time I did it.
Yeah.
So that's the work that we're all running into, because it doesn't feel good to be upset, disappointed, regretful, angry, like that. It's part of life. It's there to teach us something, but it's not ideal. It's an inner,
Right.
It's not ideal.
Right.
So, yeah.
This is so cool. Thank you. This is awesome. Tell us what you're most excited about now. What are you working on right now?
I am working on a masterclass. It's called Emotional Success. How to elevate your feeling, how to feel good and create at a level that you want to create at. So
Amazing.
It's there to give you the tools that really everybody needs, but entrepreneurs and leaders and, the ones that are a little bit more invested in their own growth will want to dive deep into it, because you not only help yourself and you create the best life. We have lots of choices. We could go down a tough, harder road or an easier road, right?
Right.
We can be a little more authentic to all of who we are, or we could be a little bit more jaded in how we approach our life. But it also helps everybody we're touching, whether they're clients, family, communities, depending on what your role is, you are making an impact on the people around you. So I teach discernment, heart healing. Like, how do you really go deeper? How do you change the way that you feel in the world? And that changes the people around you. So it's my life's calling. It's what I came here to do. So this is where I am.
You're so lucky to have found it and to be pursuing it and sharing that with others. What a wonderful gift. And I'm glad that you've found your way out of bookkeeper, CPA to actually following your inner script. So cool.
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest with you, I think there was every single role that I've ever taken has played a role in who I am here today. Right. So there's nothing wrong or bad about where or what I've done in the past. Yes. That served me perfectly right. I put the puzzle pieces together of their accounting and their reporting and their strategy. Well, guess what? In the end, it's helping me with this. And I understand financial issues and I understand all of these things, the parenting. Like, if you look at each stage, the good and the bad, Oh, you're yearning for the past to get, all those good parts from the past. Well, guess what? We're here today. You did those. So it's also about being more present and aware of the influence that we are able to, positively and negatively, what we can step into and be, I don't want to say proud of it, but look upon that time in your life and say, wow, I really made the best of all of those components.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there is a ripple effect. And the hard part is we don't know everything. We don't know everything. We only behave based on the conditioning, what we've seen and what we've learned. And we only really change when we run into a roadblock and things aren't working and we're going to go through a little fit there.
Right.
And it's not going to be fun. And then life needs me to be this way. Oh, I see that now. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to get in touch with Michelle, you can do so by emailing her at michelle@empathevolution.com. If you want to visit her website, it's empathevolution.com. She's got quizzes, she's got her free training, and she's got her new masterclass up there. So definitely check that out. Thank you as well to all of our listeners and viewers. I'm your host, Camille Diaz. I'm a business optimization coach, financial educator, author, and speaker. You can contact me and find out what I'm up to through my website, CamilleDiaz.com, and follow me on social media at Cam Unfiltered. Be sure to follow Money Heart at Money Heart Show, and our website is moneyheartshow.com. Michelle, you've selected a money mantra for us today. Would you like to share it?
Sure. The mantra is, I am making friends with money.
I want to be friends with money. I think that's fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.